The Dyatlov Pass incident is one of the most enduring mysteries of the 20th century, involving the unexplained deaths of 9 experienced hikers in the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union in 1959. Led by Igor Dyatlov, the group of university students embarked on a skiing and trekking expedition through the remote, snow-covered terrain of the northern Urals. The hikers were well prepared for the harsh conditions, but they never completed their journey. Weeks later, search teams discovered their abandoned campsite on Kholat, a mountain whose name means Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. The group's tent was found mysteriously slashed open from the inside, with belongings left behind as if the hikers had fled in a hurry. The bodies were discovered scattered across the area, some wearing little clothing despite sub-zero temperatures. Several showed strange injuries, fractured skulls, broken ribs, and in one case, severe internal damage without external wounds. 2 victims were missing eyes, and another was missing a tongue, leading to widespread speculation and theories. Soviet investigators concluded that a compelling natural force was to blame, but offered no further explanation. Over time, the incident fueled speculation ranging from avalanches and military testing to UFO encounters and secret weapons experiments. Despite multiple inquiries and modern studies suggesting avalanche-like conditions may explain much of the tragedy, many details remain unresolved. Today, the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to capture global fascination, symbolizing the limits of human knowledge when confronting nature, secrecy, and the unknown. The Voynich Manuscript is one of the most mysterious books in recorded history, baffling scholars, linguists, and cryptographers for over a century. Believed to have been created during the early 15th century, the manuscript is named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who purchased it in 1912. The book is filled with over 200 pages of strange illustrations and text written in an unknown script, which has never been conclusively deciphered. Its contents are divided into sections that appear to cover topics such as herbal medicine, astronomy, biology, cosmology, and recipes, yet none of the drawings align perfectly with known plants or systems. The writing itself is the greatest puzzle. Unlike any known language, the script follows patterns similar to human writing, but resists all attempts at translation. Some researchers believe it is an entirely invented language, or cipher, while others suspect it may be a hoax designed to deceive wealthy collectors. Over the decades, countless code breakers, including experts from World War II and the NSA, have tried to crack it, but no definitive solution has been found. The manuscript is currently housed at Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, where it continues to attract academic and popular interest. Modern studies using statistical and computational methods suggest that the text may have genuine linguistic structure, but its meaning remains elusive. The Voynich Manuscript endures as a symbol of hidden knowledge, representing the tantalizing possibility that human history still conceals secrets waiting to be uncovered. The disappearance of Flight MH370 is one of the most perplexing aviation mysteries of the modern era. On March 8, 2014, the Boeing 777 departed from Kuala Lumpur International Airport, bound for Beijing with 239 passengers and crew on board. The flight began normally, but less than an hour into the journey, the plane abruptly deviated from its planned route. Communication with air traffic control was lost, and the aircraft vanished from civilian radar screens. Despite immediate search efforts, no distress signal was ever sent, and the aircraft's precise fate became a global enigma. Subsequent military radar data indicated that the plane turned westward across the Malay Peninsula before heading south over the Indian Ocean. For years, an extensive international search was carried out, making it the most expensive aviation investigation in history. Small pieces of wreckage, confirmed to be from MH370, eventually washed ashore on the coasts of Africa and islands in the Indian Ocean, but the main wreckage and flight recorders were never recovered. Theories surrounding the disappearance range from catastrophic mechanical failure and fire to deliberate human intervention, including possible hijacking or pilot action. Official investigations concluded that the aircraft most likely ended its flight in the southern Indian Ocean, but without concrete evidence, no single explanation has been universally accepted. Today, Flight MH370 stands as a haunting reminder of the vulnerabilities of modern aviation and the limits of current search technology. It continues to inspire debate, speculation, and calls for renewed exploration. The WOW signal is one of the most intriguing events in the history of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Detected on August 15, 1977, by astronomer Jerry R. Amon at the Big Ear Radio Telescope in Ohio, the signal was a powerful narrowband radio transmission lasting 72 seconds. It came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, near the Chi Sagittarii star group, and was so extraordinary that Amon circled the printout in red ink and wrote "WOW" in the margin, giving the signal its famous name. What set the WOW signal apart was its intensity and structure. Unlike natural radio emissions, which tend to be broad and noisy, the transmission had characteristics consistent with what scientists expected from a deliberately generated interstellar broadcast. However, it was never heard again, despite repeated follow-up observations of the same region of the sky. Explanations for the signal have ranged widely. Some scientists believe it was caused by a rare natural event, such as a passing comet emitting hydrogen signals at just the right frequency. Others argue that it may have been interference from Earth-based sources. Yet many researchers still consider it one of the most credible candidates for extraterrestrial communication ever recorded. Decades later, the WOW signal remains unsolved. It has become both a symbol of scientific curiosity and a cultural reference point in discussions about alien life. Whether it was an extraordinary coincidence of nature or a brief message from beyond, the mystery of the WOW signal continues to inspire exploration. The Mary Celeste is one of the most enduring maritime mysteries in history, often cited as the classic example of a ghost ship built in 1861 in Nova Scotia and originally named Amazon. The brigantine was later refitted and renamed Mary Celeste. On November 7, 1872, the ship set sail from New York Harbor bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of industrial alcohol. The voyage began without incident under the command of Captain Benjamin Briggs, an experienced sailor traveling with his wife, young daughter, and a crew of 7. Less than a month later, on December 4, 1872, the British vessel Dei Gratia discovered the Mary Celeste adrift in the Atlantic Ocean near the Azores. The ship was completely abandoned, its lifeboat missing, but the cargo largely intact. There were no signs of struggle, and valuable items, including personal belongings and food supplies, were untouched. The ship's logbook showed nothing unusual before the disappearance. Investigations at the time failed to determine what had happened to the crew. Theories included mutiny, piracy, seaquake, alcohol explosion, or even supernatural causes. None were supported by solid evidence. Later research suggested that fumes from the cargo might have led the captain to order a temporary evacuation that went fatally wrong. The fate of the Mary Celeste's crew remains unknown. The ship itself continued sailing under new owners, but eventually met its end in 1885. Today, the Mary Celeste endures as one of the sea's greatest unsolved enigmas, symbolizing the haunting unpredictability of ocean travel. The Taos Hum is a mysterious, low-frequency sound reported by residents and visitors in the town of Taos, New Mexico, since the early 1990s. Described as a distant engine or deep drone, the hum is typically heard indoors and during quiet hours, most often at night. Unlike ordinary environmental noise, it is perceived by only a small percentage of the population, making it both deeply personal and scientifically elusive. Those affected often report disturbances in sleep, concentration, and overall well-being, attributing headaches or anxiety to the persistent, untraceable vibration. In 1993, after growing public concern, the United States Congress requested an official investigation. Acoustic researchers, physicists, and engineers traveled to Taos to measure possible sound sources. They recorded environmental noise, electromagnetic activity, and geological vibrations, yet no definitive origin was discovered. The hum did not match known industrial or natural frequencies, and no consistent external source could be confirmed. Various theories have emerged over the years. Some suggest hidden military communications or classified technology, while others suspect geological factors or psychological phenomena such as auditory hallucinations. A fringe group even attributes it to extraterrestrial or paranormal origins. Despite these theories, no single explanation has gained universal acceptance. The Taos Hum remains an unresolved modern mystery, notable not for visible evidence, but for its deeply subjective impact. It stands as an example of phenomena that challenge the limits of science, experienced by many, proven by none. Today, it symbolizes the boundary between external reality and human perception, continuing to intrigue skeptics and believers alike. The Phaistos Disc is one of archaeology's most enigmatic artifacts, discovered in 1908 by Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier at the Minoan Palace of Phaistos on the island of Crete. Dating to the 2nd millennium BCE, the disc is made of fired clay and measures about 15 centimeters in diameter. What makes it extraordinary is its unique spiral inscription composed of 241 symbols arranged in a clockwise pattern. These symbols, featuring human figures, animals, tools, and abstract shapes, were impressed using movable stamps, making the disc an early example of typographic printing, centuries before known systems. Despite extensive study, the script remains undeciphered. It does not match Linear A or Linear B, the known writing systems of ancient Crete. Some scholars believe it represents a lost language, while others suggest it could be a ritual text, hymn, or even a game. A few skeptics have questioned its authenticity, though the majority of experts accept it as genuine. Attempts to translate the disc often rely on visual interpretation rather than linguistic consensus. Over the decades, theories have linked it to religious chants, calendars, migration records, or funerary rites. However, without additional examples of the script, no interpretation can be verified. Today, the Phaistos Disc is displayed at the Heraklion Archaeological Museum in Crete, where it continues to provoke debate. It stands as a symbol of ancient innovation and unresolved mystery, representing the vast gaps that still exist in our knowledge of early Mediterranean civilizations. As long as it remains silent, the disc invites endless speculation and fascination.